So another reason that drives people to talk about and share things is emotion. Very simply, when we care, we share. The more we feel about something, if we feel happy or excited, or even if we feel some negative emotions like anger and anxiety, there's too much content online to read all the articles in the New York Times or watch all the videos on YouTube. And so one shortcut we use is, well, what did other people like, right? If other people found something worth sharing, it's probably worth us checking out too. So most people, rather than scanning the Times, for example, they look for the most emailed list as a way to figure out what content they should look at. But why then do some articles make that list rather than others? What makes certain content more likely to be shared? And so a couple years ago I got interested in this question. This was a little bit before most emailed lists were a big thing. And so at the time I would take my scissors and I would go to the library and I would clip out every day the articles. The Wall Street Journal had a nice little piece every day about the articles that had been most emailed the prior day. I'd clip that out and I'd take it back to my office, and I had a big stack of sort of which articles had been most emailed. And I looked through them trying to find common patterns. It was really hard to do, but luckily we figured out a better way to do it. So we went and we used a web crawler to scrape all the articles written by the New York Times for 6 months. So you might think, for example, that what makes content shared? Well, maybe positive emotion is shared more than negative emotion, right? So why might we share things? Well, if we're really excited about it or something positive happens, like we get a raise or we get a promotion, we're going to talk about it and share that. Negative things we're not going to share, right? If our child gets a C rather than an A, we're not going to pass that on. If we get fired rather than promoted, it's not really worth sharing to others. But we actually found, yes, positive things are shared more than negative ones, but some negative emotions can actually be shared. So things like anger and anxiety, for example, are highly shared even though they're very negative. Why might that be? And so what we found is the answer is not just about positive or negative. We share positive things and we avoid sharing negative ones, but it's really about the arousal or activation that emotion evokes. If we think about anger versus sadness, for example, or on the positive side, things like excitement or amusement drive people to talk and share. They activate people, they activate them to take an action, and one of those actions is sharing. One story that really helps us see how emotion works is a story that happened to me a couple years ago. So I'm an avid cyclist. I was biking one winter through Philadelphia when I noticed a dog running around part of the park. And then I noticed that the dog was actually by itself. So I pulled my bike over thinking I would pick up my cell phone and call the number on its tag and help it find its owner. But unfortunately, when I went over to the dog, it was a really happy dog, jumping up, panting, licking my hands. The dog didn't have a collar on it. And actually, when I looked more closely, the dog had sores on its body. It had basically been abandoned. Someone had left this dog in the park to fend for itself. And so with the help of a friend, I took the dog in, I gave the dog food, I got it its shots, but unfortunately neither of us could take the dog. We couldn't adopt the dog. We had to find someone else to take the dog. So I sent an email out to all my friends saying, hey, do you know anybody who might want a dog? Good thing, the story has a happy ending. Somebody actually adopted the dog. It ended up finding a happy home. But it wasn't anyone I sent the email to, and it wasn't anyone I sent the email to who sent it to. It was actually a third degree of separation. Someone sent the email to someone else who sent it to someone else who eventually adopted the dog. Now, that's a great story. This dog got adopted. But think about if the same thing would have happened if I was getting rid of a couch. So if I sent an email out that said, hey, free couch, here, come and get it, right? If you think about it, the dog story got shared more because it has much more emotion. We care about that dog. We feel for the dog. We want it to get a new home. We want it to get adopted. And so because of that, because we care, we share that information. We pass it on.